I knew this year would be different. I knew this year would be full of scale, full of massive withdrawals, people quitting their job, the most amount of full-time traders that we have ever had. We're only a few months in and we are seeing a tremendous amount of growth. The level of focus, the level of intention is so clear. And another one of our traders has passed on the fund.
Ibby told me that the next trade is around the corner. I was managing this trade pretty aggressively because I was getting closer and closer to passing my assessment.
What's your favorite type of entry?
The way that we close at the double top, just a signal of people getting caught on the wrong side of the market there.
He is now a portfolio asset manager on our in-house fund and is on his way to trading multiple 6 and 7 figures. It's as simple as that. We're going to be going through a couple of his trades that he took to pass on the fund. There's a tremendous amount of value that you can take away from his mentality and his unique story that led him to this journey right now. So let's dig into this episode. Right, Tyren. So before we get into your journey and your story, I just want to dive straight in to the trades that you've been taking recently. Maybe some of the trades that you've taken on the funded capital as well. So firstly, congrats. It's incredible to see that, of course, you've scaled up. And I'm really looking forward to people learning more about your story, your work ethic, and just everything that you've been doing behind the scenes to inspire the community. So firstly, thanks for jumping on.
Thank you for having me, man.
You're very welcome, man. It's great to put, of course, a face to the name when we're, working with people online. So you're based in New York, right?
Yeah, I'm in New York.
Yeah, we'll definitely be doing a meetup there soon. That's for sure. Well, before we get into your journey, and I'm sure everybody's curious about, what trades you took, where you are in your funded journey. Talk us through a couple of trades that you took. I've actually got the dollar CAD position up here. Talk us through this one, because most people underestimate how simple we trade. So I'll be curious from you. Talk us through what was going through your head during this type of position.
So, you basically went over this in the Sunday market breakdown midweek. So pretty much just everything that you pretty much told us to do, I just listened, followed your instructions, and just keep it black as white. So here we have a 3-touch ascending channel on the daily time frame, or actually on the 4-hour. And we're pulling up to that hook point there. And the way that we closed at the double top there with that long wick candle was just a signal of people getting caught on the wrong side of the market there. Mm-hmm. So that was just pretty much key for me, math psychology, going on to the 1-hour.
Yeah, so 1 hour. So yeah, I like that channel. Talk us through this point. So someone who wouldn't understand maybe the way that we trade, what would you say is the significance of this channel leading into this area there? Is that what gave it away for you, that the higher quality of the position? Yeah.
So the fact that we didn't have any structural ending towards the double top there was just key for me to just stay out of the trade and just wait for my insurance entry, which is just to push down on the 1 hour and a 15-minute flat continuation. So that pretty much just, helped me keep a clear head and just not mess up or anything there. And just went down to the 15-minute.
Sure, let's take a look at the 15. So you got in around, was it within this flag here?
Yeah. The little 2-touch 15-minute flag there. I believe I got a risk entry in there.
Yeah, so you would have got in around here.
Yep. And I got a risk entry within that because I could manage to trade down to the lower trend line there.
Yeah. So did you have your stop roughly? Do you remember roughly what it was? The stop?
I think it was about 15 pips. I usually don't go lower than 15 just for the extra breathing room, depending on the size of the flag.
Of course. Have you ever entertained or sized up any flags yet with 10 pips in scenarios, or have you got a rule for yourself? Because this is good for traders to learn, right? Everybody has certain set rules. Is yours 15 and lower, or is it just because you're still testing tighter stops?
So I've taken a couple of trades with a 12 pip stop loss. Just my luck with it just hasn't really, worked out well. And I find that most of the time the 15 pip stop loss range is pretty much a solid, area there for me. So I try to keep it there unless it's just a very large stop loss. Then it's okay, I'll do 10, 12 pips.
Nice. Yeah, of course. Right. Well, so with this particular position, of course, you can see that we pulled down quite nicely, pulled away from the flag. And then we got a bit of a steeper pullback. Talk us through this.
Yeah, so I forgot where I was at the time, but I was managing this trade pretty like aggressively because I was getting closer and closer to passing my assessment. But
Okay.
once
Yeah.
I started to see price pretty much move a little bit correctively, I got a little bit more aggressive with my stop loss. Yep, right around there.
Yeah, makes
And then
sense.
the next thing I pretty much forecasted there was more of a larger three touch flat continuation. And then
Uh,
pretty much just got that, pretty big move to the upside there and got taken out.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you was essentially looking at it like not with this candle, but more of a potential of say something like that.
Yeah, and then get another entry there for a tighter stop loss and then continue. But then when I saw it come pretty much to my entry, I was like, okay, maybe something else is changing. Just go
Mhm.
on to a new pair.
I think that's a great point, right? So what you done again, listened very well, and that's what I like about people that just like follow the stuff that we teach very simply, because then you don't have any missing gaps in your trading. You looked at the nature of the price, you realize,
Mhm.
right, do I really want to hold through all of that? Because I mean, you could have left your profit at like 1%, but then again, it's like at one point you're running like 6, 7%. It's not really a reality in which that people will comfortably just give all that back in hope that it's going to work out. So I think you made the right decision there as to whether this kind of deeper pullback, I would do exactly the same thing. But the entry wise is really nice. This here, what's your favorite type of entry, just out of interest? Do you prefer a continuation that's already in a continuation? Do you prefer reversal structures that, break out and break back in? Do you have a preference?
I really don't have a preference, but I do like the continuation patterns and just getting that risk entry within, the continuation, because
Hmm.
that way you can manage your position a lot better than saying getting, you know, uh, a reduced risk. But there's nothing wrong with taking reduced risk entries. But my cup of tea is pretty much that two touch risk entry within a continuation.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I do like those. The risk entry within the flags are pretty much a go-to. And again, just a simple structure like that into the hook point, break above, break back in. Some people would look at it and go, I'm not too comfortable taking the flag sitting on top. But again, you've got the risk entry within the flag. You've got more room to be able to manage the trade. You then proceeded with your management more aggressively due to the nature. I think that's absolutely spot on. But it's all a matter of high risk and low risk trades. Like some are going to be slightly high risk. Of course, you can't have perfection. Some are going to be below that. In an ideal world, it would have pushed below. There would be no bullish wick and there'll be a flag underneath. But again, we can't operate in things being perfect. You have to learn how to read price. So this is a solid trade, Tyron. I
Thank
just
you.
want to go on to this next one because this is a long. I know it's a rarity that we're looking at long positions, but I mean, they're still in there. We just
Yeah.
naturally gravitate towards quite a lot of sells. But let's take a look. So whereabouts did you get? Oh, okay. So it's down here, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, nice. So high time frame structure. What I like about your trade is that essentially you're trading off of this. I mean, a very, very strong base. So anything within here is looking for upside.
Yep. Golden.
And then on the 1 hour, so you looking at this expanding, and I take it you was within here on the two touch.
Yep, yep. Nice little two touch there. Almost like a smaller version of an expanding pattern there. We got a nice little retrace on the 1 hour. Took a nice risk entry at the bottom. I think I closed for around 3-ish%. Like I said,
Yeah, I see it.
pretty much aggressive with my management here. So
Yeah, so you was in like roughly here, and then managed it aggressively like that.
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
exactly. Pretty much around
Yeah,
there.
that sounds about right. Do you know what I like about trades like this is that even when it didn't really play out in the first part, even though it come back and tested this area, I mean, very difficult to predict that this move up was going to be that impulsive. However, the fact that you're able to get in and out of a trade 3%, even when something hasn't played out, it just shows you that it still adds to the account growth. A lot of people are
Yeah.
looking at, yeah, but what about the rest of the move? You can't live in hindsight. As long as you're building your account 3% here, 4% here, is that how you kind of view things? Did you ever get frustrated in your journey when you would take something for a small percentage and it went on? Talk us through that.
Yeah, 100%. There's been a couple of times where it's like I'll bank maybe 1% and then like I'll see like the rest of the move just pretty much continue in a forecasted direction.
Mm.
But I think the one thing that I've remembered and just really stuck with me was what Ibby told me that the next trade is around the corner. So
Mm.
keeping that type of mindset just always, kept me at this natural flow state. Like, okay, don't worry about just this one trade. There's another trade that's going to come. So even if you bank maybe 1% and you took a loss here, the next trade is around the corner. You may bank 6, 7% on that trade. So don't ever stress about it. But in the beginning, yeah, it's gonna be hard because you want to win. We trade to win. We don't trade to lose. And when we see a trade pretty much just going on without us, it messes with our emotions and everything. But if you just keep yourself at that, okay, this didn't work out, maybe this next one will, and just keep yourself at this like nice flow state, you're going to be golden in this game.
Yeah, nice. Well, that brings me on to, after this introduction, a real introduction now. I mean, we digressed into the charts, but I really appreciate you taking us through that. That's awesome. So, firstly, congratulations on becoming a portfolio asset manager. That's an incredible achievement. Incredibly proud of you and the work that you've been putting in. I'm really now keen for people to learn about just your story as a whole. Forex, you mentioned about Ibby. So, for those that don't know, Tyren, you're being coached by Ibby, yep?
Yeah, Ibby is he's the man. He's the man. Like, if I never hit up Ibby that one day, I believe in August, I don't think I would have been able to pass my assessment or anything. I was very scared to pretty much hit up a coach or anything. It was I've always been that type of person. Like, I could do it on my own. I could do it on my own. I'll figure it out. But sometimes you need to get help. And I was struggling without help. And even though I was in the FX Live and it was helping, just getting that one-on-one coaching is what'll put you over that fence from inconsistency to consistency. And ever since I got on a coaching call with Ibby, like everything just went upward. And I'm just very thankful for Ibby.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, talk us through that then. So we'll get onto your kind of transition as when coaching, where you were in your journey. As where did you start? So coming into Falcon, was Falcon the first time you started learning about trading? Did you learn trading prior and then you came in? Talk us through that.
Yeah, so I get these dates mixed up, but I believe I got started summer 2018. I was a part of, I'm not going to name the group, but people already know who we're talking about. But I was a part of this group. I met this person and he was telling me like, oh, I do this and that. Saw his Instagram and he had like the cars, he had the clothes, he had the watches, the boats. He was networking with people. On his Instagram, he had these highlight stories of like how to trade Forex, what is Forex, and just a whole bunch of stuff, books, charts, money. And I remember just like, wow, okay, let me hit this guy up so he could put me on game. And I, DM'd him. I wasn't expecting him to DM me back, but he DM'd me back. And then we hopped on a FaceTime call with me and my friend for like, I think about 15, 20 minutes. It was pretty much just like him hyping us up to buy the membership. And so me and my friend, we split the cost. It was about $100 each, I think, somewhere around there. And, we're in this, in the group and we're going through all the content. At the time, I didn't know a lot of this stuff was free content. And, just throughout the whole month, my friend and I were like, yo, this isn't really like a legit space to like learn how to trade Forex and just pretty much anything. So, after that first month, my friend and I were like, all right, we're just done with this. My friend completely quit. And you know how like the Instagram algorithm works. It's like once you click on something, it's going to keep showing you stuff like that. So for the remainder of time, I kept seeing trading, this, that, and seeing people making profits. And I'm like, okay, maybe it was just this place. I went back to school. Then I told, my fraternity brothers, like, hey, I'm going to go to another school. I got my grades up at the time. Going to this other school. I'm going to go back home. I'm going to work, learn how to trade, go to school. And, at the time I didn't have a car. So I was like, I'm going to save up enough money to get a car. So that next year, that's exactly what I did. So fall 2019, I attended another school over by me, which is about 15 minutes away from here. And, I'm still like diving into trading. I'm bringing my laptop to school. I'm getting to classes early so I can just go through, YouTube, Google, just trying to figure out this whole trading thing and just drawing trend lines and everything. So I got it all, pretty much down. And, it came to a point where I was thinking about dropping out of school, but I was, afraid to do it because it's like, I'm already in school. I don't know what my parents are going to say. And, some of my friends already dropped out of school. And I was like, I see where they're at in life. What if this trading thing doesn't work for me? So, just battling just pretty much that. But, one day I was late to class. I had class. It was business law, I believe, at 8 a.m. in the morning. It's about like 8:10, 8:15. And, just that whole week I've been thinking about dropping out. But then I'm like quickly like saying, no, I'm not doing it. But I don't know why, but this day I was late and I'm driving to school and I'm in the far left lane. That's a turn only lane to go to the left where the campus is. And then the right lanes to continue straight. And I'm at this red light pretty much. And this is the longest light I've ever been in. And the entire time I was just thinking, like, do I want to go to school or do I want to focus trading? And, that entire time I was just thinking, should I do it? Should I not? I'm like, I'm almost done with school. I can continue going to school, get a job, everything will be okay. But I didn't know. But it felt like I had the devil on one shoulder and the angel on one shoulder. The devil's like, oh, you're stupid if you, drop out of school. You're almost done. You're going to be like your friends if you drop out. You're not going to have a good job. You're going to be a bum. But then the angel on my shoulder is pretty much telling me, you're not any of those things. You're not dumb. You're not a bum. Everything will be fine. You're still young. And life isn't about just taking one road and you get to your destination. Sometimes you got to make a left turn. Sometimes you got to make a right turn. You got to do U-turns. But it doesn't really matter. So maybe this is the right path for you to go down. And I'm still just battling, sitting in my car battling, like, go to school, drop out, go to school, drop out. But I don't know if it was God, my body, or I don't know what it was. But as soon as that light turned green, my body just turned over to the right lane and I went home. Luckily, there was no car in the right lane because I would have gotten into an accident.
Of course.
I went home and I was like, damn, did I make the right decision? I was like, maybe I should go back to school. But then I was like, no, I already did it. Like something told me to go this way. I'm going this way. And pretty much that's how my trading journey just started there.
Wow. So that's an instinct. That's something, and almost I want to say not instinct, intuition. It's hard to explain intuition on those moments, and it's because it's not quantified. There's not like a science to it of like it's not a logical thing, but there is a feeling inside of you. Now, sometimes it's difficult to not overstep that intuition because you can just get a feeling and do that and it's not actually there. But sometimes you just have to have faith and trust that right, there's something clearly pulling you towards that right lane and going back home. Talk us through, you've made that decision now. Your mind's now even more fully cemented. I'm going to figure this stuff out. How did you come about Falcon? Is it something you just saw online? Was it somewhere where you saw on YouTube? How did you actually enter the community?
Funny that you asked me that. So I believe, first I was going all through Google, YouTube. I was a part of like these free courses, paid courses, all these books, Forex signals. And I think one day I watched a YouTube video like very early on, before you even had like trading content on there. And I watched your YouTube video. I was like, okay, this guy seems legit. And I like the way like you were talking about yourself and pretty much like I couldn't sniff any BS on you. And I didn't know if that was like a good thing or not, but I was looking more into it and I was like, you know what, maybe Falcon is the place for me to go to. But I was still a little hesitant because I've been scammed in the past and I didn't know if this was, a legit place. So I went back to, just going on YouTube, free content. And then I'm trading this system that, it was okay, but I just couldn't figure it out. And then I remember just going on Google, typing in Forex mentorship. And you were the first person to pop up. I'm like, Falcon FX, I've heard of this group. Okay. So then I saw the link to it. So I clicked it and I was like, you know what? Let me join, see where this takes me, take this seriously, get out of this get rich quick mindset and see where I can go from here. And I mean, here I am on the podcast with you. So
Love that. It's always fascinating to us to, see the pathway as to like, it's moments away. Like when you was at the traffic light, it's decisions away from making a decision. It's the exact same thing. You was there thinking, should I sign up? What if you didn't? It's not that you couldn't have become successful anywhere else. It's not like there's no other way to trade successfully, but it's just always fascinating to me to go back to, if you reverse engineer and go, I could have just not clicked it. I could have just, carried on with my day and maybe you didn't join for another 6 months. Maybe it took you down a different path. So firstly, I'm glad that you did, because you've been a pillar of the community and your work ethic shines through. By the way, so those of you that don't know, so what time is it for you in the FX live sessions?
2 a.m. It used to be a little bit earlier when it was Benny and Neil. So, but it's 2 a.m. for me. Very hard to get up, but got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, you get it done, and I really appreciate that. And I think that's what shines through of what you do. You stay in your own lane, you get on with it, and I can see that prevalent in just your work ethic for the community. You know, you've been in the shadows at times and just getting on with things, and then you participate. I loved when you started putting those videos in of analysis as well. I thought that was really good, the way you articulate yourself. So I love seeing that, and just overall your work ethic is very, very clear that shines through. Have you always had that from like school? You know, you got to do what you got to get done. Is there anyone that helped you with that? Any mentors that you had or role models that you looked up to at school and things like that?
I mean, school for me, like I didn't really take school that seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I was like an average B/C student. I was like, as long as I pass, I don't really care. As long as I can go home, play my video games, and come back and go to school, hang out with my friends, I don't really care. So I wasn't really like, let me study type of person.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got to Falcon, I was like, okay, you can't just watch the content and not dive deep into it. So that was a bit of a struggle for me in the beginning. But once I got into that rhythm, like, okay, I got this, that's when I started to see the results and everything. But I think I would say really the only role model that I can really say that I had was pretty much my dad. My dad pretty much from a young age, he's always told me, like, don't be afraid to get help. He's like, you know, sometimes people will laugh at you because you're asking for help or you're asking so many questions, but those same idiots have the same questions like as you. They're just afraid to ask. So, you know, before I even hit up Ibby to ask like for help, it was almost like a cry for help too. It was like I was struggling, but then I thought to myself, like what my dad told me, like, don't be afraid to get help. And when I got the help, like I started to see the results. So
that's amazing. I want to dig into that. So where was you before you started getting coached by Ibby? Where was you at, like, content wise? Was it? Can you remember what was the block for you? Was it you not grading your trades correctly? Was it the fact that you just didn't have an understanding overall? What was the pivotal point, would you say, that helped you go, right, this is now much clearer for me?
So I would really say it was just like the quality of my trades. And when I had that first coaching call with Ibby, well, actually we had a one-on-one, like a quick 1 hour talk. That wasn't really a coaching call. But when we had like an official coaching call, it was more so like the quality of my trades. And like there were trades that he was saying I was taking that were just completely unnecessary, high risk, start to lower your risk and increase the quality of your trades. So it was really just filtering out which trades are better to take and which were, you know, not working for me. And once I started to like dive deeper into that and understanding that, and he also said I didn't have like a proper trading plan. And I remember when he said that to me, I was like, what do you mean I don't have a trading plan? Like I have a trading plan, but it wasn't very clear. So he helped me with like making a trading plan and everything to where like there's no way I can mess up on it. And once I started just listening to that, what Ibby was saying and following my trading plan, that's when I started to see the results. And it's almost like he gave me the cheat code to pretty much trading. So
love that. Absolutely love that. Well, that's what I love about the coaches, right? The team that we have, Abdul and Ibby, like they go above and beyond, and it's for a reason, you know, because they understand the mission that we're on, and it's difficult to change people's lives. You have to be fully invested in wanting them to do well. So I'm grateful to have them by my side as we move this forward, and people like yourself level up. Like it's so enjoyable for us to hear that. With me, Ibby and Abdul, there's so many conversations that we'll have about students that have, you know, some of them have been really down in the dirt and almost wanted to give up on themselves. But they find something within themselves to go, do you know what? Let me just give it a little bit longer. And they just stay in the game ever so slightly. You know, one of the best bits of advice I could give to anyone in trading sometimes, it's not always this crazy logical trading plan or nothing technical. It's just stay in a little bit longer. And that can seem a little bit vague, but there's something about just weathering the storm, experiencing another day, another week, another month of being in the market, of just seeing price action, you know, just logging in, looking on TradingView. You might not even take any trades, but just that experience of being in trading. Some days you will wake up and go, it just seems clearer for me. It's like something Mark said, something Ibby said, something Abdu said. I've heard them say it 1,000 times before, but for somewhat reason, I just get it. And nothing has changed. No routine has changed. It's just been another 30 days. So sometimes you just got to stay in it a little bit longer. And it's because the industry has sold us, like you said about your situation before, it sells you on things that got to happen now, got to happen quick. But we're in one of the biggest financial arenas. You're not just going to get gifted the skill and not go through any hardship on your way to scaling up. But talk us through where you're at now, right? Portfolio asset manager, golden number. I know you've done the exercise. So,
Yeah.
talk to me. How does that feel knowing how many doubles you are away and third party funds come into that as well?
So, I mean, at first, like I was a little like nervous, but when I got that golden number, I was like, okay, well, it's not that far off. And it's like I'm only I think two doubles. Yeah, I
Nice.
think I'm two doubles away. So really my golden number was 120K.
Hmm.
So I'm pretty much two doubles away from that. And just thinking about it, it's like, well, now that kind of like relieves the stress off my mind, like, oh, I gotta, reach a certain amount of percentage in order to get to, that account size or whatever. Plus, and of course, like you saying that you can go for third party funds. I do agree, but I do like the way the Falcon fund is structured. And, I really don't want to like go out there and get that third party fund because
Hmm.
obviously we have that personal relationship.
Hmm.
You lose your funded account on FTMO or whatever you're going through in like a matter of seconds. And then it's not like you can, talk to any of them and then be like, hey, like this happened, this, that and third. But just that personal relationship is what, I value the most, really. And that's why I love Falcon, because it feels like we're all pretty much in the community together and we want to uplift each other and just be able to, progress together and make sure everyone is good. And that's what I value about this community.
I love that. Thank you for saying that as well. That's important to us that you see those values because it's true. The third party funds, they are good for some people and they do serve a purpose as a stepping stone. But
Mhm.
the reality is like they don't know you, they don't know me, they don't know thousands of other people. And if you scale up to let's say 400K and you just go through maybe a bit of a bad patch in your life where it's not. I don't want to say it's not your fault because I do believe in accountability and full ownership, but you might just be
100%.
going through a tough time and emotionally you just weren't in the right state. Like your technical ability isn't different. You just took a few trades that there were errors that you generally wouldn't take, but you were just going through a tough period. How are you going to explain that to them and say, look, we can look at those trades and go, I know Tyren. This is not his usual self. It's not like he just forgot how to trade. This is what happened. Let's
Yeah.
take a look at this. And that gives you a sense of confidence and comfort that it doesn't mean that just go make loads of mistakes and everything's going to be all right. But you know that people are actually looking out for you. They want you to do well. Like for me, our goal and for Falcon's goal is to have the most successful fund in this entire space. And that's already happening. And that will happen. The numbers will just catch up. But you'll just have so many stories. I mean, we've got so many people that are like 1% away, 2% away, some of them like 4% away, which is nothing big away from passing the fund. Some of them have already passed and got some trading dates. So it's like a mixture of both. And then there's lots of people about to get to the next stages. There's lots of people in the shadows that no one's even heard of because they want to keep themselves completely low key. So it's all just coming together towards that bigger vision of like 6 years in towards the end of the year. There's going to be a lot to celebrate. And it leads me to this. Are you excited for Dubai?
Oh, 100%. I haven't really been out the country in a very long time. So the fact that I'm pretty much going out the country to this luxurious place,
Mhm.
meeting with, high 7, 6, and 7 figure earners and just being a part of a community and just going to the Royal Sky Pool and everything, like that's something that I'm really pumped for. And, I really can't wait. And I kind of want this to hurry up.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. Honestly, imagine that visual there of being there. That moment is like, it's near enough at that point being nearly 7 years. That's like a 7 year wait to be able to go, this was just an idea. I'll probably bring the original journal with me so you guys can just, as a moment, just to read it and you see like, wow, that was manifesting me and I didn't even know about them then. That was just on a plane ride home, me just jotting everything out and it's all there. And that's because of the commitment that you guys and girls have shown. It's as simple as that. I mean, we can bring all the infrastructure, but at the end of the day, you're the one waking up at 2 a.m. You still got to get it done. You could
Yeah.
easily just not turn up and not write in the chat, but you still do it. And I really respect and appreciate that, Tyron. You've absolutely smashed it.
Thanks, thanks, thanks.
I'm curious for you from a psychological perspective. Had you done psychological work before Falcon, or just let's say outside of trading? Was you interested in psychology, or you only really found things like Rewired, etc., when you come into trading?
So, I mean, I would dabble a little bit into like meditation, but
Mm,
I never fully like understood it or like, I guess like seeing like, how like an infographics is like, you can visualize it in your head and stuff
of
like I
course.
can never like really picture it. As much as I try to, I might see a small glimpse of it. So I would try to do a little bit of that, but I believe the book that you told us to read was I think it's by Chimp's Paradox or the Chimp's Paradox.
Yep.
That was like probably the first book I ever read like fully. and actually enjoyed and started applying it and started to understand, okay, this is the chimp inside of me talking, and this is the logical side of me talking, and how the chimp will collide with, your logical side, and just trying to like use the techniques to pretty much help with all that. But yeah, Rewired was definitely like probably one of the best investments that I've like ever made into pretty much trading, and really myself, because that's what it is rewiring your brain. And that's also, I would say, is what helped me get over that hurdle in like my trading career, because we always say I believe the number is what, 20% technicals, 80% psychology, or something like that. And it's like people will say that, but then don't focus on their psychology. And I would say it too. And then when I start to like actually apply some of the things, it was like, okay, you know what, this is actually pretty good. Let me continue doing this. and I started to see the results.
That's amazing. And do you know what we see? It's quite common, as you know, it's a very high stat of people going through Rewired and being funded. And it's not to take away from like technicals or the Falcon strategy as a whole, because I believe the way that we trade is so scalable. It's scalable technically and emotionally. But as you know, it's one of those things that usually the very thing that's right under your nose is the thing that people ignore the most. So you hear it, 80% psychology, 90% psychology, 95%. You could literally say to a student, it's 99% psychology and 1% technicals. They still will ignore the psychology. Yeah. It's because it's part of us. It's like, yeah, but I need to understand trading so then I can work on my psychology. In actuality, if I could go back from day one, I wouldn't even touch a technical until I started psychology.
100%.
I would literally prime my mind to be like, right, I need to think like a profitable trader. I need to think like a successful person. Otherwise, and it's not that you shouldn't go through all the frustrations, but imagine the amount of traders that have gone through like revenge trading, gone through scaling up on the funded account, and then almost on purpose messing it all up and deviating from their plan. How much opportunity cost have people lost? How many funded accounts could they have kept and made more money just by flow zone, for example, just being aware of their emotional state? Like, for example, someone going through like an FTMO or 5%ers, they're up a certain amount, and for whatever reason, just stuff's going on at home, like life happens. And then they start to take a couple of trades they know in theory they're not too happy with, but they've taken the trades, there happen to be losses, and they've gone through a bit of more of a drawdown. If they were able, after the first loss, just even be aware of, what's my emotional state just on the scale? We measure it from 1 to 10, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm at a 3 to a 5. They're like, hold on a minute. Why is that? Oh, I argued with my partner this morning and the same argument happened the next day. You can foresee that trap of about to make the same trade that in hindsight, you'll be like, I've done it again. But, well, you done it again. You've lost your funded account. You can't then ring them up and say, hey, I was arguing with my partner. Can I promise you I'm a skilled trader. Can I have my account back? So it just goes to show you how important that, and I'm glad you've done the psychological work. I mean, you seem very calm and composed, ready to scale up. I feel like you're very present with these next stages. How are you feeling with it? Or do you feel the pressure? Or do you just feel an element of contentment and excitement at the same time?
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure, because it's like, one thing Ibby told me is the reason why like my results weren't there is because I'm attaching the future me to each trade. And
yes,
each trade that we take is like, we feel like it's a step closer to who we want to become. So it's like, I know who I want to become, and I start to see it now. And it's like, in the beginning, when I started trading on Live Capital, I was like a little nervous, but it was like, okay, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. I got to just stick to my rules. But then I got to realize like, hey, like stop attaching like the future you to each trade. Like one trade doesn't define you. One quarter doesn't define you. 1 month doesn't define you. So just staying in that like cool, calm, level-headed mindset is what'll get you through the game. And really just taking it day by day. There's no rush to get to your destination as long as you get there,
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that mindset, and that thing very there. If most traders would listen to it, would help them out so much. And it's normal, right? When you take a trade, there's no way that you don't feel slightly invincible if you've taken 5 wins in a row. 100. Even though you can get closer to a losing streak and you're just getting that one step closer, you're like, but I took 5 wins in a row. I feel like this is good. We very quickly, even at an experienced level, we just get ahead of ourselves so fast, which is why that psychological element to come in and be like, right, a bit of humility here, humble yourself, don't get ahead of yourself. You've taken the trades. Is your emotional state in check? Because very quickly, and I mean, I've been there where I've gone into like 10, 12 win, like so many times, 12 wins in a row. You feel like you've cracked the code. You feel like you've cracked the market, and you attach so much emotion onto it. It's like, I'm one step closer to seven figures. I'm one step closer to seven figures. Does that mean then that you take a high quality position and it's a loss? You're one step back? It doesn't work like that. And that's the hard part of trading. So I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a good mindset that's helped you just like focus on, right, I just need to do the things that I need to do, and then I'm going to scale up. Tyren, I'm curious for you, how have you found just like the Falcon community as a whole? And is there anything that's helped you, any people you've engaged with, or have you kind of kept yourself to yourself? I'm curious about that.
So pretty much all I would say in the beginning, I would I would copy other people. So like I would watch how like they would talk about like when they put their trading analysis in the morning, I would be like, okay, how does this person do it? And then I would just like pretty much copy it. Then I'll see another person pretty much copy them and just go back and forth, back and forth. Then I start to like kind of just get a hang of everything. And I would say, yeah, reaching out to like some community members definitely helped. Not too long ago, I hit up Oscar and Wasim, and I hopped on a coach. Those are like my first coaching call, or not really coaching calls, but just calls with like anyone in Falcon. And I was nervous at first, but then I was like, yo, this is actually pretty cool. These guys know what they're talking about. And I love the energy from Oscar. He's an interesting character. And, Wasim, I just like the way that he pretty much structured his whole day and pretty much just like the way that he was talking about himself and just all his future goals and whatever. It was all like just crystal clear. And I would say pretty much like the entire Falcon community is just pretty much positive. And that's what I value, a lot about the community, because in other communities that I've been in, like some people aren't as positive and there's a little bit of negativity. People are always like showing their profit. No one's showing like the technicals, or like it's never like a precise entry, and people are always trading like different strategies within the group. Whereas like we're all trading the same strategy, may have different styles to it. Some may be a little bit more aggressive, some may be a little bit more passive. So it's pretty much a mixture of the same thing. And just having the foundation series in there, FX lives, Sunday market breakdowns, coaching calls, midweek, like you pretty much have training wheels all through trading. And it's like, there's no way you can really fail if you just like really take the time to really dive into the content and have some type of like focus. And that's what'll get you in, to that next level in this game.
Yeah, I love that. And it's always fascinating for us to see. It's like the people that go all in with the content, you'll be surprised how many people message in 6 months in, and then they ask, where are the trade recaps? So what does that even mean? Like, you can figure that out in the first 15 seconds where they are. Whether you should watch them right now, that's a different story. But you should, even if you just went first hour, I'm going to just look at what's available. You should know where everything is. You just click and just look. Like, oh, this is that. Oh, this is the advanced content. Maybe I shouldn't jump into advanced content because I signed up an hour ago. Like, it's so easy to apply that and then just take your time with it. Stay in your own lane. Jump on with people. And of course, Oscar and Wasim are incredible guys. I've of course met Wasim in person many a times now. He's a formidable individual, very young but wise amongst his years, and he's got an incredible mentality. It's a breath of fresh air to have people like that. And I'm yet to meet Oscar, so I can't wait. I can't wait to meet Oscar. He has been a shining light in the community, and he's gone through some struggles, tough times, difficulty, but it just shines through. That is the energy. Like, you can't break someone like that. Yeah. And I think that's the thing you learn. That level of spirit is what we all need. So this community is so special, man. It's a pleasure to have you part of it as well. And of course, put that face to the name. I'm looking forward to meeting you in Dubai. We've got talks of one in New York as well. So the meetup, that's going to be epic. So
I'll be there.
So pumped for that, man. But thank you for taking that right turn. Seriously, if you go, we don't know where you'd be. So
yeah, I'd be thinking about it too. I don't know where I would be either. And I'm just glad that I'm here. I've always knew that I wanted to be like my own boss and pretty much just not take orders from another person. And now that I'm in this position where I don't really have to take orders, although it's a little bit harder because no one's giving you orders and telling you what to do, because you got to do it on your own. But this is what freedom is to me. So I value this more than anything else.
That's where the discipline comes in. You're on the right path. Stay grounded, stay level-headed, and I know we're going to be seeing you in many places and been jumping up on future podcasts.
Of course.
The last kind of final words for you, what would you say, not just to the Falcon community, but any traders in this space that are, brave enough to actually go after this? Because it is a difficult endeavor. Any advice that you would give from what you've learned? Is there any key things?
Two things. Trading is a lonely game, and you're going to have friends that, this is actually one thing that you would talk about too, is like the hardest thing that I would say is like pretty much distancing yourself from your friends, especially the ones that don't really want to grow. And these may be the guys that you grew up with and like been like your friends since like day one. But there comes a point in like your life that you want more. Some people don't want more, and that's okay. Like they just want to be able to live, breathe, eat, and just do whatever and get their one vacation a year. But then there are some people out there that want multiple cars, multiple houses, want this luxurious lifestyle. But in order to get that stuff, you have to sacrifice. And sometimes that means you got to sacrifice time with family, friends, and just, focus on the things that you need to do. And having a strong community like Falcon is definitely like something that you need because, like I said, this is a very lonely game and not everybody's going to understand what you're doing. Like, at times my friends even like they would make jokes about Forex and, how like they're all scammers. It's not real, this, that, and the third, but it's like I'm a part. And at first, like I kind of like I took it to the heart because like they don't understand, like this is my life, this is my future, this is what's gonna get me that Ferrari, that Lambo, that house, that vacation, like that. They don't understand that. My friends would talk about having those things, but their actions don't align with it. Whereas my actions are aligning with all that. And not everyone's gonna understand what you're doing. And don't take it to the, to the heart or anything. They just don't understand. Just how you don't understand what maybe, some of your friends are doing. And just keep your head grounded and just remain focused on what you're doing. And I would say like another thing is definitely that loop. The loop I'm talking about, just like in your trading, that's definitely gonna be another hard part about it. Is like at first you don't realize you're making these mistakes. Then you realize you're in this loop, still making the mistakes, but you're aware of the mistakes. And then the next part is you're getting out of that loop. And then you're not making as many mistakes, but you may still be making a small little bit. And the worst part is if you get back into the loop after you gotten out of the loop. And that's happened to me. So I would just say, just really just keep doing what you're doing. There's always another day. It may not be today that you succeed, but maybe tomorrow, maybe next week, maybe next month, maybe next year. But if you stay in Falcon, or if you're not in Falcon, get in Falcon and you'll see everything that's happening over here is legit and you'll reap the reward.
Love that. Thank you so much. Honestly, it's been so enjoyable, which is why I wanted to come in on this really raw, learning more parts about your journey. I love it. I love the whole journey. Just like I can visualize the picture that you painted. I'm so glad you made those decisions, not just to be in Falcon, but for yourself. It's difficult in life when you have those moments because they're defining moments. How do you know what to do? But you trust your intuition and you had faith in that he was guided in the right direction and you came to an incredible community and your values speak volume. So thanks for being yourself, Tyren. I'm sure lots of people are going to be DMing you after and learning more about your story, but I'm excited for you to scale up, man, and meet you in person. Seriously. So you smashed it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on the podcast, man.
Honestly, such a key milestone. We're going to look back in many years to come, and you will as well. I remember that podcast. I'm multimillionaire now. I remember that. I remember where I was. This is where I got. It doesn't mean there was never going to be any hardship after that. There's always going to be layers and levels in which that you could have a bit of a wobble. You just have to embrace it and make sure that damage control is important as you scale up further. However, you're on the right track. That's the most special thing. You're on the right path. And that's something to have a lot of faith in. So keep doing your thing, man. I'm looking forward to meeting you.
Thank you. See you as well.
Thank you for jumping on, brother.
Thanks.